Business Sidekick.
Hello, dear listeners. Here's Justyna, live chat content writer. You're listening to Business Sidekick, a podcast dedicated to growing your online business. My today's guest is Paolo Fabrizio, social customer service expert, an author and a speaker. We will talk about pros and cons of social customer service, how to measure the effectiveness of this channel, and about the future of online customer service. Enjoy!
Business Sidekick.
Hi Paolo, thanks a lot for accepting my invitation. Can you tell me a bit about yourself and your experience?
Hi Justyna, first of all, thanks very much for having me in your podcast. As for my experience, I'm a customer service guy, so everybody always asks me about social media, but I'm so old that I started the old customer service stuff in the 90s.
Oh my, you're not old, I'm sure.
Yeah, my voice, I feel young inside. Anyway, I start, my very first customer experience is dated to the 90s, when I took part to the first online insurance company in Italy. It was the startup of the direct line insurance branch in Italy. And it was a very exciting period because we launched one of the first call center in Italy. I've had the chance to cover different roles in different companies as for customer service, like foreign claims, customer service, sales, so pre and post sales. And thanks to my expertise, when social networks came in a few years ago, I realized that they were bound to become a new channel for customer service. So I left the company a few years ago. I started my consulting career as a social customer service expert 3 years ago. I launched my Italian blog focused on social customer service, and last year I wrote my first book, La Rivoluzione del social customer service. This is the Italian title, which is the first Italian book covering social customer service topics. So that's my story summed up in a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks and sounds impressive. And you're right that social media are so important for customer service, because I've read that 67% of customers use company social media channels for customer service. So you're right that it's very, very important.
Yes.
So,
yes, it is.
Yeah, so maybe we would start from the basics. Can you tell me why business owners should think about social customer service? What are the benefits of it?
Well, there are many benefits, but the main are two. The first is increasing productivity of their customer service staff or call center agents, and the second one is to decrease the cost of each interaction. Okay, saving. So. Everybody knows that handling a phone conversation costs more or less 4 or 5 times more than handling a social interaction via Facebook or Twitter with the customer. And moreover, if we compare the same lapse of time, for instance, 10 or 15 minutes, on average, social agents are able to handle more conversation, maybe 5 or 6 conversations using social channels compared to the phone channel. That means that we do not have to close our call centers or our phone channels, but we need also to be able to serve our customers integrating digital channels in order to provide a seamless experience.
So basically, social customer service is a cost-free channel.
No, I wouldn't say cost-free, because everything costs, and it's not that easy to say, okay, let's make an integration. It's when I have to consult my clients, I always firstly analyze the current situation. So current situation means also starting to understand if the staff dedicated to customer service is enough to be able to handle also new channels, to integrate new channels, or maybe it's better to focus and reinforce the effectiveness on current channels. So improving efficiency.
That's very interesting because many people think that social customer service is just replying on Facebook posts. So do you have any tips or best advice on how to implement social media culture in a customer service?
Well, there are many tips that I can tell you, but the first one I think about is to start by listening online what customers are saying about you, okay? Whether you're already present or not with social networks, you need to listen to customers online because they already talk about you, even if they're not able to talk with you online. Just to give you an example, the most famous social customer service company in terms of success is KLM Airways. Okay, they integrated social channels, but last year they decided to integrate also Facebook Messenger because, first of all, they noticed that 80% of their customers already use that channel on a regular basis. Okay. So they were pretty sure that customers were not only willing, but they were very glad to use that kind of channel. After that, you need also to be prepared to integrate digital equipment, digital platforms, and all internal procedures. So on the customer standpoint, it's very easy because you send a tweet and you receive an answer. But behind that, on the back end, there's a lot of job to do, not only in customer service departments, but also in internal communication in between marketing, customer service, finance, IT.
That's something that we should be aware of, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and what would be your advice on measuring the effectiveness of this customer service form? Are there any KPIs or maybe other metrics helping to figure out if this channel is successful?
Yes, KPIs, selecting correct and proper KPIs, it's an issue for many companies because especially those companies who start from a big call center and from that call center create small social customer service teams of 4 or 5, 6 staff, usually tend to replicate the same KPIs they use for the call center and to those kind of team, but that's not correct. You need to select KPIs that measure effectiveness and service compared to the specific channels. So there are one of the main KPI is average time response. Okay. Mm-hmm. Another one very important is the response rate. So if I receive 100 tweets and I respond to 96, my response rate will be 96. But those are not enough in order to measure how you are able to deliver great customer service using social. You need also to be able to measure how you are effective. So one of the most important KPI is first contact resolution. So those conversations that you're able to resolve in just one reply. Mm-hmm. Okay, because if I'm able to reply to the first message or tweet in 5 minutes, that's fine. But if my reply generates 3 more questions for you, this is the case in which social customer service is not effective. And it's not also economically advantageous for companies. You need to be able to be quick to reply, but you need also to be able to be clear, concise, and effective so that you give and provide customers with relevant information and they do not waste time to write you again. Okay? So that's why first contact resolution is a very important metric. Of course, there are many, many more that need to be set up according to specific customers, clients' goals. Okay, if your goal, for instance, is to reduce phone calls, you will apply specific KPIs. If your main goal is to reduce the cost per interaction, you will also decide to add others.
Mm-hmm. And how about conversions? is it a good channel to bring more leads?
Yes. Whenever you answer questions, whether it's to current or prospect, you are not only providing customers with service, but you're also making marketing, because you can reduce the distance between them and your company. So if I send you a tweet and I'm not a customer to your bank, and I ask you, what are the inner costs if I open a mortgage for my house with you? Okay, and you reply very fast, you give me all the information, and you're being helpful, I may become your customer, because maybe I just needed that final confirmation. So customers compare the experience and leverage, because 77% of customers consider online reviews very important for their sales decision.
That's very important, right?
Yes, to buy, for the buying decision. So that's very important. And so that consequently, marketing, customer service, most of all, need to interact each other in order to be able to communicate internally and be able to provide marketing information, sell in a many different way and in many different moment of the customer journey, not only before sales.
And you were talking about big companies, and would you recommend social customer service for small or mid companies as well?
Well, it's a bit different when we talk about small companies. When I think about small companies, I think about like 50, 70 staff or less, okay? Because you need to make big investments for them, for small companies, as for digital structure. There are many very good social customer service platforms that can be integrated with CRMs, okay? But they cost money. And at the same time, it's also a matter of volume. If you're a small company, do not receive a large volume of incoming calls or incoming tweets or messages via Facebook, maybe it's not worth to add new channels, especially socially. Maybe it's you can work on self-service, improving your website in order to anticipate customers' questions and provide them with automatic, frequently asked questions on your Facebook page, on your website, and on your app, and so on. Maybe you can integrate and work on, improving efficiency on current channels rather than adding social. I mean social because social are very are considered very dangerous by many companies because, as I said before, conversations that take place on social networks are public. So many small or mid-sized companies are afraid to be able to handle so many conversations. Okay, whether they're direct conversation or customers that talk about your brand each other.
Okay, and here comes the last question.
Yes.
Do you think that social customer service is the future customer service? I mean, the technology is moving forward. So many people are, browsing through internet on their mobiles. So will it affect, regular customer service?
Well, I don't think it's the future. It's the present. It's
nice.
The present. And the future. We are already receiving very interesting signals about the future. So my view is that brands are still a bit slow realizing that social customer service is the present, while customers are already asking brands more, not only to integrate just social networks, but also to integrate, for instance, instant messaging apps. That's why some companies have started to listen to customers and to integrate that kind of apps like WhatsApp, for instance.
Or live chat.
Or, live chat or Telegram. Okay, and that's very interesting. On the other side, we've seen in the very recent months a very strong rise of artificial intelligence. Lots of people are talking about them, and lots of companies are integrating chatbots. And Facebook recently launched a series of chatbots, and that's a message in terms of social customer service. So when we talk about social customer service, we should not focus on social networks, but we should focus on, the vast area of social digital channels that are integrating or bound to be integrated within customer service. Well, artificial intelligence, so chatbots, is a very, very new things, but I think that in the near future we've seen lots of development. Just to give you an example, an online digital bank here in Italy already uses their chatbot to provide customers with traditional or standard questions.
Mm-hmm. We're also already working on it, and it works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It works, yes. And compared to the traditional chat, which needs, the presence of a customer service assistant, it works and gives and provide customers with instant answers 24/7. Well, I think that it's very interesting. Many customer service staff are worried at the same time because they're worried about losing their job.
Yes, that's one of the concerns.
Yeah, that's maybe the biggest concern.
Do you think that it will happen?
I'm not able to say that, but I'm convinced that things are changing so rapidly in social customer service that maybe in 3 or 4 years, we've seen a lot of changes, not only in terms of social, but also in terms of integrating artificial intelligence. What I can say is that a lot of research indicate that many companies will see a decrease of incoming calls in the next 3 or 4 years. That's due to the fact that many millennials or even younger people prefer to send messages, to send tweets, to use apps rather than calling a company on the phone.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And that's for sure. That's the only thing that I can say for sure, is that maybe one problem will affect call centers if they're not able to turn themselves into digital contact centers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. That's really interesting, and I think I could talk about it for hours. But I'm afraid we have limited time, so thank you very much for this chat. It was really great.
You're very welcome, Justina. So thanks again for having me, and thanks for everybody who's listening now.
Business Sidekick.
Many people think that having a business social media account is nothing more than hanging on Facebook or Twitter. But they don't understand that social customer service is not only about customer support, but also about marketing and PR. In other words, it's a serious, full-time job, and we should be aware of it. But even if you're a one-person company, I think that it's important to open at least one social channel, the one that's the most popular among your customers. That's because they're already there, so if you're not trying to connect with them, you're missing many business opportunities.
Business Sidekick.
That's all, folks. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow Paolo or me on Twitter to be in touch. You can also show me some love and review this podcast on iTunes. All the best. It was your business sidekick speaking.
This podcast was brought to you by Lifetime.